Good evening. Hope you guys are doing well. I believe it is Tuesday. It is Tuesday unless you may be in Thailand. But if you are back, thank you for coming. My name is RJ Mood, and you guys are at the Black Expat Life Abroad conversation. And what these conversations are designed to do is give you what so many people are looking to do: move abroad, but actually do it and do it successfully. A lot of you guys are in a position to have marked off 2026 as the year that you move abroad. And the terms that are used are often, I need to do my research. But asking yourselves the proper questions, asking yourselves the things that you need to succeed are not often given to you. So, not only this platform, but tonight's conversation and all of the conversations that we have had over January in the 21 days of Relocation Reality Check, they're designed to help you do something before you move. I know you guys think about what happens after you move, but a lot of the success, a lot of the positivity that you're looking for is actually being done right now, where you are, probably in the United States, trying to figure out where do you go, how do you go, what do you do to wrap your head around this entire move abroad process. So, if you are the person that is looking to move abroad, welcome. If you are not the person that is looking to move abroad, or you know someone else that is also looking to move abroad, what I need you to do is share the live. I need you to share this live so that they see this, that they have this conversation. Because you may see the topic for tonight where it is, what do Black Americans need to hear? So we're going to talk to us in the room, but some people may come across this and say, well, I may not be a Black American, but I still are some things that you need to hear as an American before you move abroad. Some things you need to put into your relocation toolkit that are designed to help you increase the success, the probability of success that you are looking for. But it is only done with the intention. And a lot of people are not realizing that intention comes into the success equation because you can't just run out of the United States. You guys are in a very unique scenario because you are talking to somebody that didn't run out of the United States. I was there, I left the United States. Whereas now, people that are looking to leave and move abroad in 2026 are in a position of fleeing, are in a position of possibly fleeing the United States, looking to move in the scenario of I'm running out of a burning house scenario. So you guys have to realize that just because it feels like a burning house doesn't mean that you don't need to set yourself up for success. So any of the conversations that you may hear both tonight as well as on this platform, they're designed for you. They're designed to take a little bit of what it is that we, the population of people that have successfully moved abroad, didn't have. Nobody asked us these questions. Nobody said, hey, when you get over there, this is what you need to be prepared for. Because those are the things that can help, or excuse me, dictate whether or not you waver in your, am I going to stay abroad? Am I going to return back to the United States? Am I going to be in a scenario where the plans that I had didn't plan out? You don't want to be in that population of people that return home, didn't have a good time, end up losing their job or putting themselves in a scenario where they didn't have it all figured out. They didn't ask themselves the right questions. They didn't go with the right intent. And a lot of you haven't realized that the intention is what you need to put into perspective. So, tonight's conversation is before you move abroad, what do you need to be told? What did no one tell me? What did no one tell many of my friends? What did no one tell you outside of you're crazy for thinking that you could leave the United States and build a life? I get that. We all got that. But what do you do in a scenario where you may be the first person that has embarked on this journey in your family and not realizing that no one can prepare you for what they don't know? So, hopefully tonight you will hear something from somebody that not only took what it is that I went through and took it from other people's perspective after having conversations with them, but it's a conversation designed to help you reflect on the things that you've thought about in this relocation journey that you've been on, this move abroad process. Maybe it came up in 2025. Maybe it has been on your radar for a long time and now it has finally hit its head. But how do you get prepared? What has no one been telling you? That is what we're going to get into. So we're going to start this conversation off because the running thing, a lot of people are fleeing America. And it's been the first time in American history that people could be seen as an American looking to flee the conflicts that are going on in the United States. And oftentimes I tell people on this particular platform, I say, hey, you guys might need to take a deep breath, take a pause. And I say take a pause because unfortunately, you may be feeling like I have no other choice but to leave. I can't sustain this life in America. This isn't actually a life. It's not even living. I'm just surviving. You guys are probably wrapping your head around that, and I get it. But running before you know what you're running to and where you're running is one of the most fatal flaws you can do in this relocation process. Not knowing where you are looking to leave and what you are giving up, thinking that you can just bottle it up and keep it all in your head. It doesn't work that way. It just doesn't work that way. You need to visualize it. People know the words manifest and manifestation and things that they need to do to manifest their dream life and not realizing that your dream life is locked in your head. You guys need to take it from an old school perspective and grab a pen and some paper and write it down. Understand that fleeing and running out, you could leave so many things behind. Not ask yourself so many questions on what do I take? How do I go to a place I've never been for and set myself up for success? If you're not asking yourself that and just booking a flight and going on Airbnb and picking a place based off of what ChatGPT told you, you are in a position of possibly exceeding your expectations as far as succeeding. You may be in a scenario where you won't even get out the gate. You may do it all backwards or all wrong or miss the steps that you need to take and not realizing that this is a step-by-step process. There's a things that you can do that you need to go from one step to the next step. I have it on my website and, partner with some people that have it on theirs too, but it is a 6-step process. And the first step is where most of you guys are right now, which is I'm just thinking about it, or I'm trying to put the idea around it. The thought process. Is it possible? Can I do it? What does a life look like there? Now, those questions are foundational and fundamental to your success, but you need to go a little bit deeper. That's why I asked you when you've thought about, and you come to me and say, hey, I want to do a consultation. And I get on the phone with you and I say, hey, where are you at? What process are you at? What things have you thought about? Because you're going to go through some introspective things that are not widely spoken about on other platforms. It's not the sexy stuff. It's not the things that people want to talk about. It's not the things that, will keep you up at night thinking that did I make the right decision. So when thinking about fleeing, I say hold your horses. Take a deep breath. The best way for you to even leave a situation and not necessarily flee is to have clarity. Clarity on what you're giving up, clarity on what it is that you're looking for. Many people will put in the top expat destinations thinking that that is going to give them the answer for where they should go. But with clarity on what you're leaving, with clarity on what you're looking for, with clarity on, hey, when's the last time I asked myself, how am I doing? What do I actually want in life? If I wasn't a banker or a tax preparer, if I wasn't any of these things that I do for my job, what would I do? Ask yourself. Now you might not be in a position, you might still be looking to move and remote work, and it's not about a job function right now. We're talking about just you. What do you want? Oh, I want to be able to spend more time with my family. I want to be able to spend more time in nature. I don't know who you are, but what do you want? Because the fleeing thing should give you a little bit of pause and saying, hey, I can't just jump out and not know where I'm going to land. But most people won't ask you, what do you want? Most people won't ask you, hey, you could run and blindly into a scenario where it sounds good from somebody else's lifestyle and life perspective, but does it actually jive with what you need? Does it jive with who you are? Never mind what the America weight version of you is. Imagine a person you could be without all of those things that you have stressing you. Now, don't get me wrong, because you can go on the other side of the TSA and still have stress. Work and things could still bother you. I'm not saying that. We're not painting some rosy picture as moving abroad fixes all your things. And that's a different later portion of this conversation because a lot of people are thinking that the move abroad is just going to magic wand, Harry Potter with the dot with the lightning bolt on his head. You guys are going to be able to just magic wand yourself into a whole new life and all of your problems and everything goes away. And it just doesn't work that way. I know that's how they're selling it, but that also goes into what they're not telling you before you move abroad. Nothing actually gets solved abroad. It might get a little easier to find a solution, but the opportunity to find a solution only comes down to you and what you are willing to do. So when you are thinking about running out of America because it's just enough, if you've just had enough, take a deep breath. Take a deep breath. Ask yourself what you want, what you're giving up, where you're going, what you're looking for. These will narrow down so many of the questions that you're like, I don't know. I'm just going to try them all out. And it doesn't work that way. You get one life. You think you're going to try the top 10 expat destinations out and not feel burnt out on top of, I thought this was going to make it all better? It doesn't work like that. So you guys have to realize that it goes to so many different nuances when you come down to this relocation point. Another of the things that I have so many people in my inboxes and I hear this from all demographics. You guys have to realize that you may feel isolated in your subset of who you are, but when I talk to you guys about relocation and the people that contact us, do you realize that I'm talking to young people, old people, white people, black people, brown people, whatever color you could possibly be. I've heard from every last person. And that's why I realized so many people are fleeing because this is not isolated to being black or poor. This is everybody is like, what is going on? And I'm looking to leave. And I get that. And a lot of you may have been in a scenario where you are travelers, you traveled, you went somewhere. And you know, what I tell people is even if you're in a travel perspective, caution you having multiple destinations on your passport as if those destinations and the experiences you had there actually work wherever it is new that you're going. Because often they don't. You may have certain understandings and you may have a certain lower level of, okay, I don't know, so let me learn, which should be the focus. But a lot of people are taking what they learned in Spain and coming to Colombia and saying, hey, well, you know, I went to Spain, and, you know, so know what's going on in Colombia. And I'm like, no, you don't. Be open for learning. Be open for learning because when you go and you're looking to relocate and you're saying, well, you know, I've been to I've been to this place 1,000 times. I go vacation there all of the time. I know exactly what it's like to live there. No, you don't. No, you don't. You don't know what it's like to live there. You don't you what you know is a very short period of time where you go feel free as a bird and the food is fresh and everything is perfect, or maybe in Jamaica and everything's irie, whatever it is that you go that you feel that you got it on your radar. I've seen people tell me they want to go to St. Bart's and they want to live in Kitts and Nevis and they want to go to St. Lucia, and I'm like, these are destinations for vacation. Now, could you go live and build a life there? Sure. But are you basing your relocation journey off of where you like to go on vacation? Because somebody told you that relocation is just like creating a life, that it always is a vacation. People that actually live that life, I'll tell you, I'm one of them. People that actually live that life and, you know, are always in the airport, always on the road, you crave wherever it is your domicile is, your home, where it is you call home. You crave it, being on the road for weeks and months, you know, living out of a bag or packing a little bag and unpacking a bag. And that gets tiring. You're a spirit. You have one body and one vessel in said spirit. You can't live like that. You can't take my dad said when he was a kid, he wanted to grow up and be a hobo. You cannot be a hobo. You can't really actually live that way. It sounds good. But most people aren't actually living that way. So when you talk about relocation, I tell you guys to take your tourist glasses off, because that's the ones that you are saying dictating, oh, I want to go live in these island countries. Maybe you do. But you need to put your Tuesday glasses on. If you haven't visited there yet, most people don't realize that if you haven't visited with your Tuesday glasses on, what do I do on a Tuesday? Then you may not be actually ready to go sell everything based off of your vacation glasses, based off of the destination that you always loved and always go to. You guys have to realize this. They're not going to tell you this. The day that DJ Khaled was talking about, the day that are selling you something and saying relocation is going to be changing your life experience. It's going to, all you need to do is just go put your visa first, and that way you'll have residency when you get there. And it's like, you don't even know if you like that place. Why are you spending thousands of dollars? Why are you putting, I've asked this before, but maybe you're new here. Can I see what's in your bank account? Can you send me 6 months of your statements so I can see if you have enough money to even be a part of this conversation? That's evasive. That's asking a lot. Well, that's what any government is going to ask you when you go there with, can I stay here? Here's my visa. Here's my residency. I think in Mexico, you got to show $4,600 that you make a month. Now you might say, "Oh, I make plenty of that," but then somebody might say, "Whoa, that's way more than my pension is. That's way more than my monthly salary." I don't know what your finances are, but I need you guys to wrap your heads around that, because maybe you went to Mexico a bunch of times and you heard it was a great place to live, but do you know what it takes to stay there? Do you know what neighborhoods that you want to be in? So don't run out there thinking that, oh, well, I've visited a bunch of places and I've gone there on vacation before, and this is what I need. This is actually what I need to succeed in this place. Stop. Stop. Now, listen, we've got relocation tours. If you guys are on YouTube, you can see them in the links. You go to moodtravelabroad.com. There's relocation tours on ground. We not only handle Colombia, which is Medellin, Cartagena, Santa Marta, as well as Cali. We also work with people on ground, not me. We work with our other expert teams in Mexico, Puerto Vallarta, Playa del Carmen, Mexico. We work also with Panama City, Panama, as well as Cape Town, South Africa. So the connections are there. They're there. Moodtravelabroad.com, MOOD travelabroad.com. That's where you can go. Those are the things that are available to you. But this conversation goes behind questions. This conversation is supposed to be like, hey, here's a mirror. Look, what do you see? What are your expectations versus what is reality? These things are important, because unrealistic expectations can ruin your entire first year. It might not even get to a year. You might go home because you have unrealistic expectations. I had my cousin call me and he told me his sister moved abroad, and he was like, oh my God. I was like, what? She moved abroad? She's like, yeah. Long story short, worked with a relocation company, and that's why I say always vet your resources, who you're working with, who you're going through, because just because they're a relocation company doesn't mean they know anything. I do not, no shade to anybody, but this person was essentially, she was end up being a negative portion of working with the wrong people. I say that is because they got her everything that she needed, but the one thing they didn't ask her was how do you make money? What is your job? What are the things that are important to you? I say that is because these things, the unrealistic expectation, because you don't know what's under the hood from a VPN perspective, or what they look for and what they don't look for. Certain jobs I would tell you to not recommend. Certain careers, you can't take it abroad. You work in the banking systems. You need to access things that are behind banking firewalls. I would say don't. You may not be in the career path to do so. Certain medical fields and things that you have to get certain encryptions to get into, you might not be able to take that career abroad. Yet people are just ripping their lives and just saying, I'll just take my computer with me and I'll be good to go. Yet people's unrealistic expectations don't navigate firewalls and VPNs and what these ports are that your IT company could be looking for as a work. But they're just saying, hey, get your visa. We're going to get you into housing, and they do. But they didn't really give you a plan that was catered to you. They just wrote it right out the box and says, here it goes. And now you are out of a career because they got you there and you did everything that you were supposed to do. And now you didn't realize that, well, there's internet blackouts often in this location. Nobody was asking you about that because they don't care how you got work money. They just want your money. So unrealistic expectations can never mind an entire year ruining abroad. You could be in a scenario where you could, one, be there for a couple of months. Two, no longer have employment because you didn't do it the right way. Work with the right people to ask the right questions, even ask the right questions of yourself. So that's why we're here. Because these things aren't realistic. They're not realistic to not wrap your head around. Everybody's been told third world countries, the top places that you guys are looking to go, they're all been branded third world countries. And if you know anything about this channel, I tell you to throw that meaning out of your head. I say, what do you mean? It's a third world country in Colombia and in Mexico and in Panama and in South Africa. And it's like, okay, according to America, but according to the globe, there's a lot of things that maybe America values that every doesn't value, and there's certain things that you have access to, that you can have access to, that you don't have access to in America. And people think the cheaper cost of living is an ability to just automatically lower your expenses, and then you now have all this free money, and it doesn't work like that because some of your American expectations that nobody told you to leave where you are, wherever it is that you are. Leave them right there in your little living room, in your car, in your wherever it is you are. Leave them. Nobody told you to that. They said you could just keep them with you and just bring them on the other side of the TSA, and they'll be waiting right here. So your American expectations or your American wants maybe didn't live a bougie lifestyle, but now you live in the 1%. You make the 1% amount of money. So you could now live a bougie lifestyle. I posted today, who are you when you get what you want? Who are you when you get what you want? You know, the stuff that you pray for, stuff you write on your manifestation board, the stuff, the goals, the things that you bust your ass for every day, the things that you hope to get out of life. Who will you become when you get them? Oh, I want to be able to do this and have all the money to be able to do this. It's like, okay, cool. But what happens when you get it? A lot of people aren't ready for that conversation. A lot of people aren't ready for that question. It's a question that nobody gets asked because most times when you grow up, you don't get what you want. You don't get that feeling of what it is that you're looking for. So you don't really ever get to face that question. But I always tell people before they go to move abroad, who are you before you get what it is that you want, the ability to do what you want. Because a lot of times when you get abroad, whether you're a white American and you're just a regular guy, or black American especially, or a subset of people where they're like, hey, I'm a marginalized people. Um, One thing for certain, two things for sure, nobody really cares that much about that. And you might say, what do you mean? Most of us realize that the first time we were treated like an American was actually not in America. So nobody, most people, when they go back to that question, it goes back to, well, no, who are you when you get what you think you want or you say that you want? What are you? What are you wrapping your heads around? Because the first time I ever got treated like an American, I was nowhere near Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Nope, no, 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 no. I was in Colombia. I was walking around and they were asking me questions, and I was like, I don't know. I didn't double vote for that. I didn't even. But it wasn't that. And you can say, oh well, I had to save up and get here and get this money. But it's like you don't realize that the United States dollar, it gives you so much access that you don't really get to cash in on until you leave. So you get, maybe this trip wasn't that much money to you, but maybe that's a half a year's salary in said place that you're going to. I don't know, but these things are all on the board when you're thinking about this. And a lot of people aren't confronted with that question, which is, who are you when you get what you want? Do you even know what you want? Never mind having to be able to define it and saying, well, if I had it, how would I act? Some people ask me, man, listen, people are like, listen, if I woke up tomorrow with hair, I wouldn't know how to act. I ain't had hair since I was 24. I'll be 39 this year. That's a long time. So you talk about that. I wouldn't know how to act. You wouldn't even know how to act with things that you couldn't even wrap your head around, taking time to actually look in the mirror and say, maybe I do want this. Because I was talking to my homegirl Eve before I got on. I said, yo, most people don't realize that the two things that are their biggest weapons in the United States have no value to them where it is that they live. You don't have any value to the weapons that are the most valuable things to you. You take $3,000 a month in the United States and it gives you a certain kind of lifestyle. Yeah, $3,000 a month in other global currency, in other global locations will give you a different kind of lifestyle. It may give you the 1% or the top 5% kind of lifestyle, or it will give you the bottom 10% in the United States. Money in the United States and the access to it has no value to you until you actually leave. The passport, unfortunately, is going down, but it's still relatively powerful and valuable. It gives you certain access, but you don't really get any of that access. You can't walk around with a passport in the United States. You walk around with a passport like, I got your passport with you. TSA ain't around the corner, bro. So you have to use that on the other side of the TSA to have any value to you. So you guys aren't really wrapping your head around the things that mean nothing to you. Man, $1, $5, $20, it means nothing at this point in the United States. A bag of groceries costs $100, but you need how many bags of groceries? Never mind the math of how many hours you need to make work to make $100 after taxes. So now a bag of groceries could cost $8 depending on, 8 hours depending on what job you may have and how much you make. When people start looking at things like that, that's when the fleeing portion starts. It starts getting a little tighter. But then it's like whether you're penny pinching or whether you have a little wiggle room, it still remains the same. Who are you when you're given these things and they say, well, $3,000, I was a broke boy. Now I can live in the rich Riviera. I can eat at all the restaurants. And how do I act? How am I going to be? They're treating me like an American. They're not treating me like I'm a black person. They're treating me like an American. That's interesting. They're not treating me like I'm a gay person or a woman. They're treating me like I'm an American. Whatever it is that you're at. That's interesting. But how do you react to that? That is the difference between whether or not you just pick a bag and pick a place and go, whether or not you have an appetite for some of these things that you're going to experience on the other side of the TSA. I don't think a lot of you realize that you're going to have an appetite for succeeding over here. You just pick a place and decide to go there. It's a very colonizer mentality. You don't think you need to learn a little bit. Don't think you need to learn little bit of the language. Well, it's just so difficult. Okay, and anything that's worth having in life comes some sort of difficulty. Are you ready to start over and learn almost like a baby again? How do I go to the bathroom? Are you? Because if you're not, maybe you should stay at home in the United States. If you're not ready to learn how to slow your pace down because you've been running and hustle culture has damn near it's not damn near, it's ran you out of where you're familiar with. It's ran you out of your whole home country. Yet you can't wrap your head around why somebody wouldn't want you to bring that BS with you over here. Why can't I get it done like this? Because ain't nobody running that fast and nobody wants to. Nobody should. You shouldn't. Take a deep breath. It's been a while since you've asked yourself, what do you want? It's been a while since you've had somebody even ask you, are you okay? Because are you okay is going to give you the space to see what it is that I want. What is it that I'm actually looking for? What the hell am I doing? Thinking that I can move abroad and be successful. Nobody's asking these questions, but they should be. Nobody's asking these questions of themselves. Nobody's asking these questions on any other platform because most people won't even reflect within themselves. The ones that have succeeded, they won't say, how did I succeed? What were the steps that I take? What did I wish somebody would have asked me or prepared me for that all of us had to go through that nobody wants to talk about? See, this ain't what's going to go viral. This is what's going to keep you wherever it is that you're looking. It's going to keep you from making these mistakes, being the person on the Summer Jam screen, an anonymous member, these viral scenarios. Oh, I got stranded in Thailand and had to go back to America because I didn't have $600 in my bank account. Why are you on the other side of the world without 600 USD? You haven't been listening to the right information. You haven't been doing this the right way. You skipped some steps. Somebody didn't ask you the right questions. I don't want you to be like that. I don't even have to know you not to want you to be like that. But as I tell people, one of the biggest things that you aren't asked, and you might need to remember, because I know you one of the ilk, you definitely know what I'm talking about, but community. If you're not ready to be a part of community, then you are not ready to succeed. There, I said it. It's the truth. If you're not ready to be a part of community, you are not ready to succeed. United States has given us such an individual lane, an individual highway. None of these highways connect. We're all in our own lane, and that's just how it works. And everybody's happy with that. And I say happy because it's like this: happy. Nobody's happy. Yet this is the places that we have gotten to. We remember it. I'm old enough to remember it. Depending on how old you are, you might remember it too. Used to be when grandma was alive. Everybody used to go over there. Aunties, uncles, first cousins, second cousins, family reunions, barbecues, cookouts, whatever it is that you want to call them. These things happened. But because everybody had to start focusing on money and making sure they had enough to retire, and people didn't have enough to retire, there were so many factors at play. These things got far away. Nobody does these things anymore. So you guys take this individualistic mindset and this behavior, and you take Drake, and he said no new friends. You don't take no new friends, no new family, no new colleagues, no new associates. You don't take no new nothing. And you don't realize that that's why you're looking to leave, yet you haven't realized that leaving means I need to give this up because the world doesn't operate that way. One of the reasons I love Colombia, especially around the holidays, is because I get to see something that I don't often see. Growing up, my parents would take on extra shifts around the holidays to make certain that they could give us all the Christmas gifts. And not saying that in Colombia, people don't get Christmas gifts and there's not Christmas trees. But one thing for certain, no matter where you're coming from, people are like, yo, like it's Christmas, it's the holidays. I'm spending that with my family. I see people that got plenty of money and would go make $1,000, $3,000 in a car and be like, eh, meet me after January 12th or whatever the first holiday is in Colombia. I just don't have time. And this is like from the end of like around Thanksgiving time. You're like, yeah, December, first 2 weeks of January, we'll talk after that. I admired that. I remembered what it could feel like even just hanging with family and having that space and that time. And I don't get me wrong, if you're new here, you realize, you can't bring all your family with you. But if you're not new here, you've heard me say your second family is the most important family you have in your life. The first family, they're going to be the people you woke up here with. You don't write down anybody's name. As much as you love them, you don't write their name down. You don't choose them. Your second family is the most important is because it could be still comprised of so many people from your first family. Yet you may have lost some of those family members that you just woke up here with because they're not your kind of people. That's okay. Yet your second family can be comprised of so many other people, so many people that you met, maybe work friends, maybe people that you grew up with going to school, maybe people that you met at the gym, whatever the case is. But these people, you might not have had a long time with them, but you always felt like, man, we've got such a good kindred spirit. Those are your part of your second family. And it's time for you to open your energy back up to that because that is one of the only ways that you are going to succeed. I'm not saying that you have to play with everybody and you have to be friends with everybody that you meet abroad. That would be unrealistic. But to think that you are going to come and be somebody that's going to be this individual island and navigating lands that are uncharted, they already have been walked. We've already done it. You'd be better off getting the hookup than saying, I'll do it on my own and I'll take all the bumps and scrapes and you don't have to. And now you're jaded in your experience is conflicted because you didn't go with the right steps and the right information. You didn't listen and ask the right questions. You didn't do the right inflection and look into yourself and say, what is it do I want? You remember that feeling. You remember how it felt. Grandma's house, family reunions, cookouts. These things are alive. These things exist. But you can't access them if you don't come prepared. Nobody will invite you. They'll do it around you. Nobody will be ready to get with you in this new world that you painted out was going to be oh so great for you because they don't want to be with you. They don't want to be a part of your energy. One of the things that will align you with what your journey and your destiny is in this scenario is we've only got the energy on this world that we have to share with each other. Everything that we do is energy based. You hear my vocal inflections? That's transferring energy from my voice to what it is that you're hearing. You go out with your family and friends, you give them a hug, you're embracing them. That is an energy exchange. You walk into a room and people, it seems like a little negative and you can feel it. You can feel the energy. Everything that you do in this world is an energy exchange of some sort. and not realizing that your energy needs to be in tune. It needs to be open. It needs to be hungry. It needs to be ready to learn, inviting. You can't have your drawbridge so high because nobody can get over it. You can't even get the blessings that you're looking for because nothing can get over them. I understand that that is how you have to live in the United States. But hopefully, this conversation tonight has asked you some questions that you need to wrap your head around. You need to put in your relocation tool bag of saying, damn, that's a good one. I need to ask myself that because I wasn't actually thinking of that. Nobody is going to come on any platform and tell you these things because it exposes what I went through. It exposes what other people have gone through that they don't want to bring to the table. These things aren't for me. They're for your success. You don't realize that you, the person that is moving abroad in this internet and digital age, that you, the person that makes the next viral video, is impacting us, the Americans that have already moved abroad, the ones that are looking to go. These things, whether it's us, the people on ground, whether it's the current administration, whether it is the next administration, it's a lot of things out of our hand. So, doing what I can for our community of people living abroad is 100% designed to help increase the probability that so that more Americans going uneducated about how to live, how to get along well with others, how to navigate new language as a grown ass person, you don't have these frictions. You don't keep have to keep asking me, well, how are they treating Americans? Well, more Americans came out that were actually open for new life and new culture and new foods and not expecting America where they were. I don't know what happened, but somehow that changed. You can be a part of the change. You just got to start asking yourself the right questions. You got to start investing into the right resources, investing into the right platforms that will actually feed your mind and give you the sustainability that you say that you're looking to do. If anything that I said tonight sounds like too much, therein lies a reflection point. If you weren't willing to do what we've done, maybe you weren't willing to get what we have. I don't know what's in you, but I know you should pause and figure that out before you go booking more tickets. So, first things first, want to appreciate you guys for always coming out. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for always being the best part of this. For the people that tune into the comments, jump in, it is always appreciated. One thing I will tell you was this. I mentioned it earlier. You guys can go to moodtravelabroad.com, MOOD travelabroad.com. There is where you're going to get a bunch of free resources on moving abroad. A lot of these conversations in the neighborhoods and the things that you need to be able to put it all together, we've done that. That's the easy part. You can go there, you can get the free resources, download them. Those are reference points for you. What you can also do is go get a consultation, get a relocation tour, get on the ground, whether it's here in Colombia or somewhere else that we've connected you guys to. These things are important before you sell everything that you own and you don't even like Medellin, you don't even like Colombia, you don't even like Mexico. Stop, take a deep breath. Are you okay? Hopefully, tonight's conversation made you not feel like you were going crazy thinking that these were some things you need to have on your radar, have on your plate. What I need you guys to do also is if you haven't, wherever it is you are, make sure you are following this, subscribe, share this with somebody that needed to hear this conversation that wasn't a part of it. Also need you to comment. Let me know what it is that you guys want to hear. I know the relocation journey is complex and you may not know where to go from where it is that you are. You need individual advice? You can go to moodtravelabroad.com, sign up with a consultation. We do 30 minutes, we do an hour. We can get into it. We can help you navigate your individual life or your family's life looking to move abroad. Lastly, what I need you to do is make certain that what I said, taking a deep breath, asking yourself, are you okay? It's going to be okay, but I need you guys to do it with respect to you and your success rate, respect to the communities that you're coming to asking to be a part of, and then respect to the world and the energy that we're all putting out here looking for refuge in a place that honestly doesn't have to allow us there. So you need to be very humble within your approach to relocation. I will see you guys manana. Tomorrow is Wednesday. We'll be back with a new topic. Let me know what you guys want to talk about. If not, jump into my DMs. Let me know if you guys need my help. I would assert you that you probably needed this conversation tonight. I would assert you that you probably needed this conversation tonight. tonight and you might not even know. But as always, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. My name is RJ Mood. This is Black Expat Life Abroad. It has been a pleasure to be a part of this conversation, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Stay safe.